By the fall of 1944, Allied forces had successfully liberated most of Europe from German occupation. As they turned their attention towards invading Germany itself, they faced a lack of intelligence networks within the country. While resistance groups in occupied nations like France, Holland, Belgium, Yugoslavia, and even Italy were well prepared to assist Allied agents from the OSS and SOE in espionage and sabotage missions, Germany lacked a similarly organized underground movement. This deficiency in intelligence was painfully evident during the surprise attack in the Ardennes in December 1944, which led to the Battle of the Bulge. This glaring gap in tactical and strategic information from within Germany severely impacted American military leaders' ability to anticipate and respond effectively to the enemy. According to OSS planners, it was believed that no American citizen could survive in the harsh final months in Germany. British intelligence also confirmed the assessment that no Allied spy could avoid being captured by the police when operating within German borders. The only chance for an agent to succeed in carrying out missions in Germany was deemed to be a German native. In the darkness of September 2, 1944, Jupp Cappius, a German-born socialist, became the first OSS agent to be dropped into Germany. This marked the beginning of numerous daring missions undertaken inside the Reich. Operations were launched from various locations including Britain, Italy, France, Sweden, and Switzerland. These missions involved both German civilians and OSS military personnel. One notable campaign was carried out by the OSS detachment of the U.S. 7th Army, setting it apart from the rest. Lieutenant General Alexander Patch, CO of the 7th Army, was in need of vital tactical detail to push further into Germany. He turned to Henry Hyde, the head of the OSS detachment's secret intelligence, for assistance. Despite exhausting French espionage connections, they were unable to provide the necessary intel to penetrate the German surveillance network. Hyde suggested a bold strategy, utilizing German prisoners as spies within the Reich. Although this plan went against theater command policies and potentially violated the Geneva Convention, General Patch allowed Hyde to move forward with the idea after receiving tacit approval from OSS Commander General William Wild Bill Donovan. Hyde handpicked a team of officers to evaluate German prisoners of war for top-secret missions deep within enemy territory. Among the chosen officers was First Lieutenant Peter Weertel of the United States Marine Corps. A 24-year-old Marine, Weertel was born in Dresden, Germany, but moved to Hollywood with his filmmaker father, where he grew up during the glamorous era of the 1930s. Already a talented and accomplished writer, Weertel had penned the screenplay for the 1942 spy thriller Saboteur, directed by Alfred Hitchcock. His fluency in the German language prompted his transfer from the Marine Corps to the Office of Strategic Services, OSS. The selection process targeted specific groups of POWs, including Catholics, Austrians, and individuals who had been punished for their political beliefs. Potential recruits were discreetly moved from the main prison population to work details for closer observation. After a period of scrutiny, candidates underwent rigorous interviews to assess their willingness to serve as spies by infiltrating their homeland. In the 1949 book Call It Treason, authored by George Howe, an operative of the OSS, the exploration of philosophical themes was brought about through the portrayal of a young German corporal. The young man, the son of a respected doctor in Berlin, made the decision to return to his motherland as an agent of the OSS. Howe delved into the essence of espionage, raising the fundamental question, why would a spy put his life on the line? What inner drive or torment pushes him to embark on such a perilous path? It is clear that the threat of force alone cannot coerce loyalty or treachery, especially when the rewards are meager and far off. Should the spy succeed, he is easily overlooked. Should he fail, a firing squad awaits. In discussing the recruitment project involving German prisoners of war, Howe shed light on the various motivations that may lead individuals to betray their country. The means by which betrayal was encouraged remains a mystery, known only to those involved. It could have been as simple as a cigarette and the privilege of conversing with an officer in the comfort of an armchair by a warm stove. Perhaps the allure of danger or the promise of wealth played a role. Or maybe it was the aspiration for a brighter future that enticed individuals to commit acts of treason. German prisoners of war were enlisted from the Saarburg stockade in Lorraine. The detention center resided in a sturdy stone barracks from the early 1900s, enclosed by a tall wall topped with barbed wire. A multitude of German detainees ambled across the weathered drill field within the compound, clad in their lengthy winter coats, attempting to dispel the gloomy atmosphere of defeated soldiers amidst the gray, cold fog. The OSS detachment headquarters of the 7th Army took residence in a turreted chateau close to Lyon, France. The exquisite manor boasted a lavish interior adorned with mirrored walls and antique furniture. Various units of the detachment were accommodated in hunting lodges, villas, and convents scattered throughout the secluded mountains near Strasbourg. The OSS team brought new recruits to a quaint inn nestled in a snow-covered forest, full of towering fir trees near the village of Birkenwald. The recruits underwent basic espionage training in the cozy dining room, where a sturdy oak table was surrounded by solid wooden chairs. A blackboard stood in the room, serving as a tool for teaching English and illustrating weapons, insignia, and unit designations. The OSS instructors were surprised by how little the average German soldier knew about their own army, beyond their experiences in small company-level units. The recruits also received introductory parachute training by being dropped 10 feet from a platform onto a soft sand pile, along with all their gear. The operatives strategically placed their insertions in remote areas far from civilization to avoid detection and give themselves enough time to discreetly dispose of their parachutes. The key to a successful covert operation was the creation of a believable cover story. A convincing false identity and a plausible reason for their travels could mean the difference between life and death for the OSS agents. Every German soldier carried a soldbook, a comprehensive document detailing their personal information, including religious affiliation, political beliefs, military history, and medical records. This crucial document was regularly scrutinized by security personnel and cross-referenced with their travel documents and orders. Any disparities between the documents and the soldier's testimony could lead to immediate arrest. The cover stories needed to provide a solid explanation for the soldier's journeys. The most convincing alibi for a lone soldier traveling was claiming to be returning to their unit after receiving medical treatment. However, this excuse had to be backed up by a medical diagnosis documented in their soldbook to be deemed credible. The OSS London and the detachment both crafted false documents to aid in their particular missions. These included forged personal photos and letters that showed signs of aging and aimed to authenticate the cover stories of the agents involved. Initially, agents were covertly infiltrated into enemy territory by ground, but they faced resistance from skeptical American infantry, who saw the OSS operation as a straightforward task of sending enemy soldiers back to their units to resume fighting. Peter Viertel first proposed the concept of utilizing parachute insertions, which were deemed as tourist missions. These operations involved brief infiltrations into the Reich, where agents would spend approximately a week traveling along designated routes and gathering intelligence before returning with their findings. The agents were equipped with genuine documents obtained from prisoners of war in confinement stockades or skillfully crafted forgeries from the OSS London station. The parachute insertions carried out by the 7th Army OSS detachment in January and February 1945 proved to be highly successful. Additionally, the detachment began enlisting women for espionage missions, as females faced less scrutiny from the Gestapo and military security forces inside wartime Germany compared to their male counterparts, who were subjected to frequent questioning and document checks to combat desertion rates. Viertel handpicked 3 women from the Strasbourg stockade to join the OSS mission. They were known by the code names Ada, Emily, and Maria. Among the 3, Maria stood out as both the most successful and the most challenging for the Marine case officer. Marred by allegations of being a collaborator and having a relationship with a German officer, Maria saw this mission as an opportunity to clear her name. Viertel found Maria's reasons for volunteering to be plausible. She claimed to have prior experience working as a nurse in German hospitals and in food service at German army mess halls. In exchange for her services, Maria was promised a letter of commendation for her espionage work within the Reich on behalf of the American military. Her Alsatian heritage gave her the advantage of fluency in both French and German, making her a valuable asset for operations across the Rhine. On February 3, 1945, Maria was transferred from the training facility in the mountains near Strasbourg to an airfield close to Lyon. From there, she would embark on a perilous journey, flying over enemy territory near Stuttgart for a parachute drop. Her cover story as an army nurse would be her ticket to infiltrating enemy lines successfully. While preparing to board the plane, she surprised Viertel by disclosing that she was expecting a child from her lover. The frustrated OSS Marine demanded a reason for her revelation, as the timing couldn't have been worse considering the resources invested in the mission. Maria assured Viertel that she was fully capable of carrying out the mission, but needed OSS's assistance in terminating the pregnancy upon her return. Viertel reluctantly agreed to her request. 2 weeks later, Maria returned with valuable intelligence on the whereabouts of a German army headquarters, troop placements, and staging zones. Her successful mission earned her the abortion she desired, however, not without convincing a hesitant French doctor that she was a patriot and a casualty of the war in some sense. On May 7, 1945, General Alfred, the head of the German Army Operations Staff, officially signed the documents that marked the end of the conflict in the European theater. The Office of Strategic Services, OSS, accompanied the U.S. Army occupation forces as they entered Germany to commence the reconstruction of the war-torn country. The first crucial task was to rid the Reich of any remnants of party influence. This process involved meticulously identifying and separating war criminals from the general population in order to find suitable leaders for the new Germany. The task was more challenging than anticipated, as not all Germans could be classified as being sympathetic or not to the regime. Viertel, a German-born Jew, believed in utilizing German nationals for espionage operations and had argued in favor of working with trustworthy Germans. However, Viertel and his fellow OSS agents were taken aback when American military authorities suddenly shifted their approach, assuming an over-friendly stance towards the German population. They felt that U.S. officials were too quick to declare most Germans as innocent bystanders, contrary to their initial expectations. During the final months of World War II, close to 200 OSS agents were secretly inserted into Nazi Germany from various locations. These agents infiltrated key cities such as Bremen, Munich, Mainz, Dusseldorf, Essen, Stuttgart, Vienna, and Berlin. The 7th Army OSS detachment emerged as one of the most successful units in providing crucial on-the-ground support against Germany. They carried out 44 parachute missions behind enemy lines from January to May 1945. Despite the significant human cost of 36 casualties, which included agents either killed or missing, they were able to gather precise intelligence on enemy military and industrial targets. This intelligence proved instrumental in hastening the end of the war in the European theater. After returning to Hollywood, Peter Viertel wrote the screenplay for the 1951 film Decision Before Dawn, based on his own experiences and the novel Call It Treason by his fellow OSS comrade George Howe. This movie depicted the daring German POW espionage operations of the 7th Army OSS detachment, drawing inspiration from real-life events. Shot on location in Germany, the film followed the story of a young and idealistic Luftwaffe corporal embarking on a dangerous OSS mission deep inside the Reich. Peter Viertel passed away at the age of 86 in November 2007, leaving behind a lasting legacy in both the OSS and Hollywood as a talented writer who collaborated with literary giants like Ernest Hemingway and John Huston to bring novels to life on the silver screen.